The why is probably multifactorial, and the why is just as important as the fact that it is. In other words, the fact that it's declining is both relevant for the fact that a very, very important hormone that has incredible benefit to men and women, by the way, is going down. And we have to come up with an answer to that, right? Like, so how do we address that? Do we address it medically, where we replace that hormone exogenously, meaning we give you that hormone directly? Or do we try to fix the underlying problem? So if you want to do the latter, you have to know what the underlying problem is. Now, at the population level, the best answer as to why testosterone levels are declining, and unmistakably they are. So the data here are unambiguous. There's no debate on this fact. The debate is around the why. I believe that the best answer probably has to do with two things. One is increase in body weight and body fat specifically in men, and some combination of reduced quality of sleep and sort of disruption to sleep. So why are those two things relevant? So when you increase body fat, two things are happening. One is you're increasing inflammation, and you are reducing the amount of testosterone that gets to stay in the form of testosterone, because part of the testosterone gets converted into estrogen. So with body fat comes more of this process called aromatization, or converting testosterone into estrogen. So if you think about what those two things are doing, if you have more inflammation, that reduces your ability to make testosterone, and you have more capacity to turn the less testosterone you make into estrogen, the net result of that is both of those things are reducing your total pool of testosterone. Mm-hmm. If you couple that with less, lower quality sleep, and I'm not talking about over the last 3 years, I'm comparing like now to say 40 years ago. And what are all the reasons that people might have poorer quality of sleep now? I think there were many, but obviously phones and social media and just the stimulation of the world we live in probably plays a greater role in that. Sleep is when we make these hormones, right? So we make follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone at their maximum amount during sleep, and those are the hormones that are driving the production of testosterone. So what we've seen in many of our patients when they have low testosterone, because there's a test you can do to see if their testosterone is low because their body can't make it, or because their brain isn't receiving enough of a signal to make it. This is a very easy thing to determine medically. Unfortunately, most people aren't subjected to that level of testing because they go to these testosterone shops on street corners that are just giving everybody testosterone. But if a physician is curious enough to understand that, you can give a patient a drug or a hormone called HCG. HCG is luteinizing hormone, which is one of the hormones made by the brain. So if you come in and you see a man who's got very low testosterone and you can't understand why, you give him luteinizing hormone. If he still has low testosterone, you know that he has what's called primary hypogonadism, which means his testosterone is low because his testes can't make testosterone. Conversely, if you give the man luteinizing hormone and all of a sudden his testosterone goes up, he has secondary hypogonadism, you could mix the primary secondary there, but really the terminology doesn't mean anything. What matters is he can make testosterone, but for some reason his brain isn't giving his body the signal to do it. And that's a classic finding in a person who's under high stress and or not sleeping well. So that's a long-winded answer to your question, but I think that those are probably the greatest contributors to this. Now, people have talked a lot about what about microplastics, what about other environmental factors, what about other factors in nutrition beyond just the ones that would contribute to excess body fat. The evidence there is less compelling, but I don't think we should discount it. But I think that if those things are playing a role, it is probably much smaller than what we just talked about.